welcome everybody to another episode of Big Talk About Small Business. And today I have with me a very special guest. By the way, Mr. Mark Zwag is not with us today, unfortunately. I don't know really what he's doing. He's just not showing up.
I wanted to meet him.
Yeah,
so next time.
He's one of the best people in the world to meet.
Yeah.
He's got, one of the greatest personalities. He's relentless, all those good things. But anyway, so he won't be joining us, and there's been a couple episodes here lately that the audience has to deal with just me and my attempt at good questions to my guests. But so Mark's not with us, but we do have a very special guest. Connie, will you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you've been doing, and then we'll go from there about some big talk about small business type stuff.
Yeah, Eric, I'm super excited to be here. This is not in my wheelhouse at all.
You seem like you're a pro.
Yeah, well, I'm a good faker. Fake it till you make it.
Boom.
That's mine.
Number one advice in business.
That's right.
I agree with that 100%.
Absolutely. So, I grew up in Colorado. I moved here in junior high school. And really, I grew up...
Where out in Colorado did you grow up?
Castle Rock, south of Denver.
Oh, nice.
Between Denver and Colorado Springs.
Good. Did you go skiing a lot?
I never skied. We snowmobiled. So my family was not athletic per se, and so we like to ride in the mountains and not ski and break legs. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But my dad was a home builder, and we had a car wash in this little bitty town that we lived in, a little 2-bay car wash. And so, we spent nights and weekends at the car wash picking up trash and cleaning out the pits and fixing motors and, counting quarters.
Wow. So car wash and repair business.
I'm home builder.
Home builder business.
So he worked for Martin, or Melody Homes in Denver,
okay,
as the construction manager, so they would just do a project. He would manage it. They'd go do another one. Well, he eventually went out on his own. Mm-hmm. And so from a very young age, I watched my parents do small business and all the hard work that it took. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, he got tired of the winters. Drugs were coming south from Denver into Castle Rock, and he wanted my brother and I to be raised on a farm.
Nice.
So we were coming to Arkansas to visit the Stewarts, which was a family friends that had come 7 years before we did.
Yeah.
Well, our first stop in Springdale was on Emma Avenue at McCamey Real Estate.
Oh, nice.
And we had 5 farms lined up to look at that day.
Huh.
And my brother and I did not know this was the plan.
Yeah.
So before we left Arkansas, we bought 180 acres in Tawnytown.
Nice.
Yeah. And we're moving to Arkansas. Get ready. It's March. We're moving in August.
That's fantastic. Do you know what your dad's vision was? Why did he want that for you guys?
So he was 42 and he retired. He basically hung up his hat, bought a farm, bought some cows, and went around Northwest Arkansas and tapped on people's doors and said, "How much do you want for that little 1940 John Deere tractor that's sitting in your pasture that's rusted?" So by the time, he probably had 30 antique tractors.
Did he work on them?
Oh, yeah. He got them all running.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So he just had a hobby. He was tired of working really hard. He was tired of the winters. He wanted my brother and I to be raised on a farm like he was, just to complete. And he was fortunate enough to be able to do that.
It's awesome. Good for him.
So, yeah, my brother and I we shake our heads every day. How did he retire at 42?
Yeah.
So he did that for a couple of years, got bored, went to work for Springdale Tractor, and then he went to work for Williams Ford.
Are you serious?
Yeah, just a little salesman.
That's awesome, man. Love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, unfortunately, he passed away at 52. He had a heart attack at Williams Ford.
At Williams Ford, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But, so anyway, that was how I got here. And then, was raised in Springdale, basically, and graduated high school, went to the University of Arkansas, and then went straight to Tyson Foods.
Okay, so now we enter into your professional career.
Yeah, so 30 years there.
30 years at Tyson Foods.
Great career.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about Tyson.
Yeah, a lot of different hats, a lot of cross-functional roles. They're so good about promoting from within.
Really?
Yeah, and I took advantage of that. So, a lot of different roles at Tyson, learned a lot about big business, how to navigate the politics and lead from behind and, just good preparation.
So what was your journey in there as far as you're rise up the ranks, so to speak? And like, what all did you do? What departments were you in?
I started as a secretary. Started making $5.60 an hour.
Heck yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And I'd been in that job for about a year, and one of my bosses came to me and said, "You don't belong here. We need to get you. You have an interview in the international marketing department with the vice president in an hour."
Oh, wow. There we go.
Okay. So I interviewed. My degree is general business. So I didn't really have a marketing degree. So that's really how it started. I bounced over to international. Spent 3 or 4 years traveling in mostly Latin America.
Really?
Working with
a lot of travel.
Lots of travel.
Like how long were you gone throughout the year, you think, during those times?
I bet probably half the time.
Really?
Yeah. I remember on my 25th birthday, I stamped my passport in Germany, and he's like, "Happy birthday, Connie." He was 25 years old. I'm in Germany. And the guy's wishing me happy birthday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what would you go just tour plants and facilities over in those locations?
We call them brokers.
Okay.
Really just all about trying to market our product. Food shows. I did a lot of food shows. And that was back in the day before it was digital. And you box up the boxes and boxes of product sheets where it was a picture of the chicken nuggets, and it had all the facts and figures and nutritional information. And we'd go set up the food shows, and we'd cook food and just try to generate business.
Wow. And then so from there, what was the next department?
Yeah, from there I went to retail marketing. I went over to retail marketing.
Okay.
Managed back then boxed nuggets, boxed wings. Before bags became real big, we had a line of boxed products.
Okay.
So I managed those. And then I bounced over to trade marketing.
And when you said retail, like that's the product at a retailer that consumers are buying.
Yes.
Okay.
You go to grocery store, convenience store, and you see the products in the store.
Okay.
Yeah. Then trade marketing. So trade marketing is really where you market to the buyers of those retail establishments. And so you put the product on sale, and there's trade deals, and there's allowances, and they only get so many of those per year. So you can do a high-low program, or you could do an everyday low price.
Yeah.
And so we would manage those programs that those retailers wanted to use for their business.
Gotcha. And so that way, because the manufacturer participates with the retailer in those types of programs that eventually goes to the end consumer.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And you're managing your margin. And so as a manufacturer, you're really concerned about the pass-through of that discount. So is the retailer keeping it all, and is the shelf price staying the same, or are they really discounting it to move more product?
Gotcha.
So those would be things that we would monitor. We'd have our brokers go in and say, okay, this item's on deal at this retailer. Go check the price on the shelf.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of details to keep up with.
Yeah.
And then from there?
From there, I went to, where did I go? Entree. So I managed our plant in South Fayetteville. So at the time, we were making rice bowls for Uncle Ben's as a contract manufacturer. So kind of a reverse relationship. And so we would make the rice bowls for them. It was a cost-plus program. Lots of negotiating because they felt like Tyson didn't have skin in the game. The more it cost to make it, the more money we made. And so I said, all right, let's negotiate this. Let's take that off the table. Let's fix your price. So if we do bad, we eat it. If we do good, we pocket that. And then you've got a set price that you can put into your pro forma, and you know what your margin's going to be.
Yeah.
And so really the only difference is how good you can buy your cost of goods because that's on you. The manufacturing part, the conversion part, we'll take ownership of.
I'm one of the, what I'm actually hearing as you're kind of going through your trajectory there, this entrepreneurial mindset that you have, right? I mean, because it's not like you had formal training maybe in negotiation and thinking about these solutions, but it's really just about a business and another business being able to work together and finding creative ways and taking some risk along the way, right?
Yeah, I've always thought it's best to do win-win. And I'm not a big book reader or, I only have very few little mantras that I do. And, one of them is Covey, and it's begin with the end in mind. And so that's really how I attempt to start everything that I do is, all right, what do I want this to look like a year from now or 3 years from now? What's the exit plan? Because, you don't ever always want to be in something forever.
It's true.
You got to get that life cycle and be willing to cut the cord and go, okay, enough's enough. Let's let this go and go do something else.
And so from there, what else did you do? Anything else at Tyson?
Yeah, so I did that, and then I got over into the food service side of the business, and I was put in charge of the McDonald's business. So our largest flagship food service customer. And that was definitely...
They sell chicken.
They definitely sell some chicken. And that was a learning curve for me.
Really?
Picked me up really out of my comfort zone and put me in a position I had 3 major plants that were producing mostly nuggets for McDonald's. So operations became a responsibility. And, that was really a big elephant to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a successful point in my career.
Really?
Let's be honest. Yeah. It didn't work out.
Okay.
McDonald's did not see the value in my knowledge.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. If I put myself in their shoes, hey, who is this lady that's been working in retail all her career, and now all of a sudden you think that she can run our business?
Right.
So, I really struggled through that. And ended up kind of finding myself back over in retail on the deli side of the business. So all the products that we sell to the delis in the grocery stores. So, I survived.
Mm-hmm.
I was a survivor. I had a choice, bail or, sink or swim.
Yep.
And so I climbed my way out of that. But it was a low point. And so I learned from that.
Yes. Yeah. I actually, as you're talking about that, I can kind of empathize a little bit about being in that situation, right? I mean, like the recovery from that is surprisingly more challenging than what people teach us about. Yeah. I mean, like I don't know, there's something interesting about in the professional realm when you don't, you take a risk, you take on a big job, it's not going away, and then you're in this isolation mode. I mean, it's really hard to find your way out of something. And I think that might be, maybe what there's a lot of super smart people that I've met that make that the decision to be an entrepreneur, because like as an entrepreneur, you're making a decision to own everything, right? The glory thought process is really nice. But when you get into a situation, you start up a business, and then the next thing, I mean, that's a hard thing to untangle from. But I think that, in my experience, at least, when you get in those positions like you were in, that recovery period, coming out of a situation and rebuilding, basically, it's a process. Yeah. It's a real one too, and it doesn't happen in a week.
No, I mean, I'd been there 18 years probably
at that time.
Yeah, and had worked really hard to get to that point. And then I really felt like I'd fallen off the ledge and was starting over from hey, she's the go-to person. She's the person you can call for this answer. I really did feel like I'd fallen into a hole. What
was your, if you could do it over again, I mean, you still took the position, but was there something that you would have done differently as far as like maybe the timing of letting people know? Or how do you exit out of a bad scenario? Yeah. I mean, what would you do differently?
I think I was drowning.
Okay.
And I was trying to do it all.
Yeah.
I think I didn't rely enough on my team.
Yep.
And I didn't get out there and build those relationships, especially at the plant level. Where
for your associates, for your team. Yeah. And so there's this disconnect.
Yeah. Because they all really thought, because let's be honest, there was a team that had worked on the McDonald's team for many years.
Yeah.
And so everybody's thinking, well, why didn't so-and-so get that job?
Sure.
Why didn't we shuffle the coconuts within the group? Like, did we not prepare our people enough to be able to take that role when somebody else got promoted out and left that vacancy? We've decided to pick her out of retail, for goodness sake.
Right.
And so I just dove into the details and was just so worried about making sure the customer knew who I was, and I was answering all their questions. I was just in fight or flight mode, I guess.
Yeah, and just studying the numbers and all the mechanics versus going to the plant managers developing relationship, trust,
And let them help me.
Yeah. Man, that's a good lesson, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's so, like, that is very applicable to having your own business, as you know, because we'll get into that in a minute about your entrepreneurial career. But, you know, as an owner of a business, you can really alienate yourself from your own team, you know, because you're not building a relationship with everybody on your team, as many people as you can.
Yeah. And, you know, we can fast forward and go back, but with my team now at YumYos, you know, and we'll talk about how I got there.
Yeah.
It's teenage kids dishing out ice cream, but they still need to know why they're doing what they're doing, and what they're doing is adding value.
Yep.
Because it is. And, you know, when I bought the business and took that over, it was kind of the same thing. It was like, well, who is this person? I don't know who this is. And we don't like you. We don't like the changes that you're making. We're doing fine here. And so it's about teenagers and change, and everybody understanding that change is okay.
Yeah.
Change can be good.
Yes.
If you embrace it.
Yep.
But yeah.
And, you know, one of my favorite quotes I heard about I don't know, about a year and a half, 2 years ago is, if by the time you get tired of explaining something, people are starting to listen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is so true. I mean, I remember I heard that, I'm like, my gosh, it isn't just me. Like, I've been so frustrated, you know, as we try to express a vision in the business, and people just don't get it. Like, but they don't live in your brain, right? And they have so many other things going on. But I think that the repetition of explaining, like, to the folks that are, you know, dealing with the customers at YumYos, like, what's the vision? Why are you doing this? You know, and if that's not driven repeatedly down, you know, from the owner's standpoint, they forget why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then that's when a lot of the chaos starts happening. But back to your point, that relationship, if you're not able to have those conversations, you don't show up, you don't make the intentional effort to express that over and over again, gets lost really quick.
Yeah. And maybe eat a little humble pie, right?
Yes.
Because let's face it, I mean, wow, they want me to run McDonald's. Like, not that it was an ego thing, but it was a big deal. And so maybe I wasn't humble enough about that with my team to go, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I need your help. Can you respect me in that? And not be jealous because you're not the person that got this position. But can we all work together as a team? I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Really did.
So from there, you go over back to retail?
Back to deli and a little deli marketing. And then the last 10 years, I was in supply chain. So came over to supply chain, and my team managed all of the capacity for Tyson.
Wow.
So we knew all the plants, all the production lines, and all the run rates. And so we knew how much chicken that line could put out. Based on the equipment that it had and the run rates and the upgrades and the bottlenecks. And so we worked with engineering, and we would every year, part of the capital plan for the operations team was we'd say, all right, plant X, line 2, the bottlenecks pack out. It can only run 3,000 pounds an hour, but your oven's running 5,000 pounds an hour. So if we'll make this upgrade to the pack out machine, now you can gain 2,000 pounds an hour, and all of your equipment's running the same speed.
Yeah.
And that's more pounds out the door, means less cost per pound.
Yeah.
So we worked on those proposals. That was really fun.
That's pretty cool.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You know, working with the equipment manufacturers and have them come into the plants and do their analysis and then come back with their proposal and then negotiate.
Yep.
Right? Now, we're not going to spend that. Surely you can do this for less.
You're right.
Yeah, and you know, more business for you if you can come to the table with a win-win.
Man, that sounds like some fantastic training to your entrepreneurial side. So at Tyson all those years, then do you go out and start your own business? What's happening?
I went to Simmons.
Okay.
I left Tyson. Well, I left Tyson, then I went to an insurance company.
Okay.
Thought I wanted to bounce into the insurance. A friend put me together with a gentleman that was looking for like an office manager or somebody to get rid of the daily details for him.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then this job at Simmons came about. It was 7 months in. I felt really bad because I didn't give him my commitment, but he understood. You know, it was back in my wheelhouse. But my team at Simmons did procurement. So we procured all the materials, all the packaging, all the ingredients for all the Simmons plants. So again, a lot of negotiating, a lot of supplier relationships. That was great.
Really? How long were you there at Simmons?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay.
And then I decided I was ready to get out of corporate world.
Okay.
And really the big deciding factor is my mother's health is declining a bit, and I just wanted to be able to spend more time with her. And then I have 5 grandkids now in the last 3 years, and so I just wanted to be a daughter and a grandma.
Okay.
Yeah. But we had purchased YumYos right before COVID. Well, so we closed March 19th of 2020, and that was a Friday. And then March 22nd, the world shut down.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at your situation, but wow, what
a lot. And my suitcase is full. So we had purchased YumYos in 2020 because I was on the trajectory of wanting out of corporate.
Okay.
It was time.
And so along somewhere in all, in those years of deciding what you want to do next, you want to get out of corporate.
Right.
What are you going to do next? You decided you wanted to. So is YumYos, is it a franchise?
I own the brand, so I could sell franchises.
You are the franchisor.
That was the plan. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the franchisor.
Okay.
So I had given my retirement notice at Tyson in March and said, I'm out of here. I need to learn this business through December. I want to retire in January.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Of what year?
21.
21.
21. I wanted to be out of corporate life.
Oh, so you bought
YumYos
while you were still in corporate.
So my plan was to just kind of learn this business. And I didn't know that it was YumYos. I started working with a business broker in Springdale.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Well, they bring me this checklist. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. I like that. And he goes, you like a lot of things. I said, really, I just want to make money. I said, I don't really care what it is. I mean, I was looking at a lawn business in Home and a campground, a hideaway campground. We tried to buy that twice. And it didn't really matter. I just need to stay busy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make some money.
Okay.
So YumYos came along. And ironically enough, the owners, Brad and I graduated high school with an owner. And so we already kind of had that high school relationship. So it was kind of awkward negotiating all that. But
yeah, sure.
We came to a good spot. But anyway.
And you used all your negotiation skills for 30 years. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
I feel like I did good.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah. I'm sure you did.
So then the world shuts down and my business plan just went right down the drain. You're making some really big decisions on a business you know nothing about.
Wow.
So I decided to keep all the employees, like all those teenagers that I'm like, if we open back up in a month, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to rehire. I don't know what they're doing. I paid them for a whole month for both stores and paid the rent, paid the utility bills.
And you couldn't do any sales?
No, not one penny of revenue for at least 6 weeks. And then we could do curbside so that, the government comes back and says, well, you can do curbside. So we tried to do curbside out of the Rogers location. Well,
that's kind of hard with ice cream.
Yeah. And we don't have a drive-through. So, the team members were running out, taking the order by hand, running it back in the store, fill in their product, and then coming back out. And then we're trying to swipe cards. And
I'll just have to say, as a yogurt lover, right, especially self-serve, because I love the sample cups.
You told me you're a sample killer.
I am a sample killer. I'm that person that takes full advantage of YumYos when I come in there. I basically get my fill in samples, and then
out the door.
But if I pull, I would have a hard time trusting somebody to make my ice cream bucket for me.
Oh, but if it's COVID and you haven't had ice cream in a while,
I mean, maybe so. Maybe so.
And you can always go, that's not what I wanted, and then we go back and fix it.
Okay, well that's pretty cool. All right, I like that. Wow, so that's a pretty terrible scenario.
Yeah. So our sales for the first really 2 years, not good. Because people weren't. Once the world opened back up, people were still scared to go out.
Yeah.
It was terrible, but we survived. We're doing great now.
That's great.
But my plan was to start a mobile truck, and it was to sell franchises.
Okay.
So by 2022. I wanted to have had a truck, a mobile truck, maybe a third location for us personally.
Okay.
And then start selling franchises.
Okay.
None of that's happened.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair.
Entrepreneurial.
That's conclusive.
Yeah. Check. Yeah.
Has not happened.
No.
Well, so what are what are your plans going forward with YumYos? Are you trying to pick that original plan back up and start going for it, or?
I think I don't know. Right?
You don't know. Okay, that's fair.
Because I've also, since I left Simmons, I've launched this bookkeeping business.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
So now I have.
So now you have a bookkeeping business, plus gotcha.
I have 10 clients that I'm doing books for.
Wow.
And so really that started because I've done the books for YumYos. My husband and I have had two poultry farms.
Okay.
We grew broilers for George's from 2013 to 2019. We had 2 farms, 14 houses.
Okay, so hold on a second. While you're working in corporate land, you have a agricultural business that your husband and you are also running.
Yeah, we have farm managers.
Yeah,
but you're
still running it. Okay,
we're still going over there on Saturday and mowing the yard and picking up whatever needs to be picked up and
making sure things. Yeah. I mean, that's a lull right there in itself.
Build a relationship with that farm manager, patting them on the back, and kind of coaching them where we see we need help. But the technology in the poultry industry today is incredible. We can be sitting at our kitchen table and see what the humidity is and has 8 on the fans and what the air pressure is and what the birds are drinking. And
wow.
So it's kind of easy to go, hey, farm manager, I see that it's hot in there. Like, go make sure the fans are on.
Yeah. So your farms are all in Tawnytown as well?
They were over by they were in Highfield.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So different lands.
So yeah, I'm working full time. We have YumYos. Now we have 2 poultry farms. And so, if we roll this all back to...
And your bookkeeping.
And my bookkeeping. Well, yeah.
Bookkeeping business.
But if we roll all this back to the topic about small business, and it all intertwines. And I think no matter what you're doing, you're making the same decisions. You're making the same business plans. You're fighting the same headaches. You're still building relationships. You're still making a decision and then reeling it back in. Oh, that didn't work. So, but you have to be a risk taker.
Okay.
And you have to be willing to pivot and be flexible.
So when you talk about risk, how do you vision that? Because, I think that might be one of the biggest hang-ups, right? To decide if you're going to be an entrepreneur or if you are one. Could be the one thing that plagues somebody. Yeah. They don't realize how much they cannot tolerate risk, but what's your perspective on risk? Why do you risk? Like the YumYos thing, right? It's risky.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about me is I've never been afraid to take a risk.
Okay.
I think it's just because, again, of my upbringing and seeing my dad break free from corporate Melody Homes and going on his own and then the car wash. And I've just seen that really hard work, it'll pay off. It's going to be rough. But I think if I was going to encourage people today that wanted to step out and start a business, there are so many resources to help. Like when you and I started our businesses 10 years ago, whatever, we didn't have these resources.
It's true.
The University of Arkansas has the Small Business Technology Development Center. All that's free.
Yeah.
They'll give you geographic information. They'll help you with financial planning. They'll help you with business planning. They help with marketing for free. You just have to be willing to ask for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a hard thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to ask for help.
As you talked about earlier, right? Like that humility, that humble pie you mentioned. Yeah. That is actually, I think that I like the risk discussion because it is kind of this, it's a cloudy thing, right? There's not it's not math. It's all emotional, in all honesty, which is very mysterious. And I've likened it to some people have risk tolerance, some people don't, but the reality is even if you have risk tolerance, you can quickly find yourself in a scenario to where, you have to, it's not like you make one decision for one risk. In business, there's risks every day in about every decision that you're making, but I think that humility part to it, which I've learned, I rely a lot on the team, a lot more than I used to when I started my business. Yeah. Like I'm just constantly, you have to allow that to happen, but getting perspectives from different people and not trying to be Mr. Know-it-all or Miss Know-it-all all the time is a big deal.
It is a big deal. And it's hard because you know what? You and I are writing the checks.
Yes.
It's on our, I don't know what the word is, but
it's on your back.
Us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spend it like it's your own. Mm-hmm. That was something that was ingrained in us at Tyson. I try to ingrain that in I hate the word try. I ingrained that in my team. Hey, spend it like it's your own.
Yeah.
Would you make this decision? Would you subscribe to that, software app if it was your business?
Right.
Is there really a return on that?
So what else have you been experiencing, though? Since you got YumYos, that are important. Maybe we could talk a little bit about somebody about to buy a business, right? Like if you're looking at getting into business, you have options, start your own from ground zero, new type of thing, or you buy an existing business. What was your reasoning for looking at buying an existing business, I guess?
I think just the ease of it.
Okay.
It's easier. Right? Mm-hmm. Things are established. You've got financials that you can review. Mm-hmm. Like when we were looking at buying the campground, same thing. You're looking at those financials and seeing what their occupancy rate is and what their expenses are. So for me, with the poultry farms, we built those from the ground up. So there was no, hey, here's what the revenue looks like.
Yeah.
Now, with us being in the industry, and my husband is very ingrained on that side of it, we had great pro formas and we had, experience that we could kind of back into what it looked like. But for me, I don't know that I could do what you just did with podcast and start it from the bottom up. Mm-hmm. That might be my break-even tipping point on risk.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. I think that, but that's the kind of back to the risk thing is like, if there's, it's like kind of what you don't have. Being an entrepreneur comes in many different forms, right? You can buy or build from ground zero. To me, I feel that buying an existing business might be a higher risk to me in a way for some reason. It makes me more uncomfortable than starting from ground zero.
Because you're not sure that what you're seeing from a financial standpoint is 100%. They might not be accurate.
It might be stuck. Like, where's the growth from here?
Yeah.
Do I really know how to, can I innovate and start? Because in my brain, I think of like revenue is coming from something brand new that no one else really has. That's just kind of what my immediate thought process. I don't know necessarily how to come in and even look at our own business and say, how do I make certain things more profitable, or how do I grow certain things? Is not really in my thinking set. It has to be kind of new.
So that's interesting. Making me think. We talked about life cycles of business. So a business that you're going to buy, that needs to be something that you consider. What stage in that life cycle is that business?
True.
Are you buying in when it's on its way down? Mm-hmm. Or are you buying in when it's just peaking? And you're probably going to pay a little bit more for that because it's a startup and it's looking like it's doing good. Or are you buying it kind of at its high point? And so if I think about what you said, other points of revenue. So if I think about YumYos, when I bought the business, there was a lot of catering. It seemed like they were doing more catering than what I'm doing. There was more interaction with schools, like, a little coupon for good grades.
Yeah.
They would drop off these coupons and give them, and it was a, free 5 ounces. Well, mom's going to bring her child in with a little coupon, but mom's going to buy her cup while she's there.
Yeah.
And so time, my time with all the other things I'm doing, I've just kind of let that fall by the wayside. It's on the list to pick back up.
Sure.
You asked me what the vision is. I have a huge vision. It's just time.
Yes.
And discipline. A few weeks back, one of your podcasts was really about discipline. Mm-hmm. Discipline's huge.
So huge.
And it's hard.
Man, I'm constantly trying to learn from that. And it's self-checking now, just how, I'm really impressed with folks like Mark, like, I mean, the guy is just relentless. I mean, and he might have been that podcast where I was like, what are these Mark Zwag steps?
Yeah.
And it's like I do the thing I hate the most first thing in the morning and get that done.
Yes.
And to me that was really eye opening because I see myself. I mean, as an entrepreneur, there's so many things going on. You actually have too much to do.
That's true.
It's very overwhelming. You cannot get everything done. So therefore you need to rely on your team because you can't do everything. But that filtering process is really challenging for me. Like, okay, I have all these things that need to be done. What's taking priority? But I'm fascinated by folks like Mark that are able to prioritize these things and just chop it off. One thing I've been practicing lately that has been really helpful is a 90-minute sprint. And I've done it all week this week. I have a pretty big project that I've been working on. It's just basically an opportunity for a new product that could be pretty substantial. But I have to do this presentation. There's just so many, basically building a business plan out of it in a presentation to sell it. But what I did this last week that I realized was really good for my time right now is I did these 90-minute sprints. I would, first thing in the morning, hit 90 minutes.
So just go for 90 minutes and then
straight 90 minutes.
And then take a break?
Then take a break. Uh-huh. And then I would do
a 30-minute break?
A 30-minute break. I'd do a 30-minute break of literally just disengagement. And then I might take another 15 minutes, check some messages, emails, texts, and things like that, which to me is the greatest distraction, right? And then I'd set another 90 minutes, and I'd just turn the phone off. I would just be focused, and I'd actually, one of the biggest tricks to that is setting my alarm for 90 minutes straight, and then that way, because then I wouldn't have to check for time.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you're picking up your phone, then you got a text, and then you go, oh, there's an email, and then before you know it, you've squirreled. That's what I'm finding myself doing.
Totally squirreled. And I think it's a lot to do with, the business, not too much stuff to do. It's overwhelming. But then it's the technology and all the distractions and the notifications. We don't, as I've grown in business with all this technology advancement in the last, 20 years, I find myself just like there's, if you really think about how often we're looking at screens, what that's doing, all the notifications, family 100% access to you, associates 100%, clients, everybody has constant access to you. You have to have the discipline in order to structure that a little bit, or else it will consume you.
And mentally, you have to know it's okay. It's okay that they can't get a hold of me for 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
Because that's how we're wired. Mm-hmm. But it's not healthy. And I'm finding the same thing. This bookkeeping business that I've started.
Yeah.
I'll be working on one client's books, and then I'll think about something the other one. I'm like, so I'll log out of that QuickBooks account, then I'll log into the other one. And then before I know it, 30 minutes have gone by, and I really haven't done.
You haven't got anything accomplished. Yeah.
And so I need to practice that and it's okay. Just focus on one client. Mm-hmm. And then, YumYos, another thing about entrepreneurship is just, you got to wear many, many hats.
Yep.
And so when I left corporate America, I was paying somebody to clean the machines every week, break them down, fully sanitize them, change out O-rings, grease the parts, make sure the augers are running and the ice cream's coming out.
Yeah.
Well, my time's worth nothing now. So it's not hard. It's just time consuming. Mm-hmm. So I let him go. And so now it's me from 7 to 10 every morning cleaning machines. I don't even know where I'm headed with this. But
are you still cleaning the machines?
Yeah.
7 a.m. to 10 a.m.?
Yeah, because we open at 11.
But that's fantastic.
Where was I headed with this? Squirreling.
Yeah.
See?
Yep.
That's what I'm doing.
Exactly. But I think that that's a good point. You know something's important in business, you can make it happen. It's actually really good. If you really look at it, it's good leadership in a sense, because the team will walk in and see that you've been in there getting ready, and they see that, right? And then now they're not too above doing things because the owner's doing things. Yeah. I'm not afraid to take out the trash. I'll do it. I have certain criteria that's important.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's what you absolutely have to do as running a business.
Yeah.
Go clean the machines.
The Benny Keith guy that delivers the supplies, and like on Thursday morning, the trucks come and we have to unload it. Some mornings I'll be there when he comes, and before he got to know me, he's like, "Hi, I'm Bud." He goes, "How long have you been working here?" And I've got this apron on and I'm like baseball hat on. Like, well, I own this. You own this?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
I sure do.
Yep. Sure enough. Good to see you. I'll see you next Thursday morning when you're here with the supplies.
I think that's here's what I like about having you on the show, Connie. Like, because my world's really more surrounded by other entrepreneurs that didn't have a very long tenured corporate life before. A lot of my clients are corporate, and so I absolutely respect some of the smartest people I've ever met. Like, it's amazing, actually, the intelligence that corporate America provides to people, and that people make it through that. But there is a significant difference, right? Because you're in corporate, a lot of team, a lot of help, a lot of systems and operations in place. There's rules, safety net. Everybody is kind of, the risk is down for everybody, but then you go to YumYos, right? And like, you got to go clean machines. I know that there's a lot of corporate America top folks out there that have an aspiration to become a business owner. I've seen the majority of them not make that transition because that risk that we've been talking about is like, I really want to do this, but that doesn't seem very safe for my family.
Yeah.
And they feel entrapped in a way. How would you recommend, like, what is the thinking process or the analysis that somebody in a corporate seat, because you actually did it, like, how did you flip that over that? Like, what was that thinking process? How long did that take you? What's some advice that you would give to somebody that's actually maybe in your shoes back then?
I think find something that you're passionate about, figure out how to make it work for you, and find your point of difference.
Okay.
So even if you're buying an existing business, buy something that you're interested in. Don't buy something that you think you can make better. How can you improve what's already there?
Which, when we're talking about the different things, like where I don't feel comfortable, but I think that a lot of folks that have been in corporate environments and professionally trained and have the ability to buy an existing business and make it better because of all the training that they had.
Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that someone that has a lot of corporate experience, especially in different cross-functional roles, could probably buy any business and make it better.
That's what you did. Because, go ahead.
You get complacent. Like, as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking about things that I could do better right now for YumYos. The training manual, haven't reviewed it in over a year. Things have changed. We've done processes different. We've made things better, but it's not in there. And so how do you make it better, and how do you sustain that process?
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that corporate America people, and you don't even have to be corporate America. I mean, you could be someone who's worked at a stay-at-home mom, who's worked really, really hard at home.
Yep.
There's a lot of that going on right now, especially with online. I mean, you don't have to have a brick and mortar. You can make a business successful online. My daughter-in-law and her best friend are doing it right now. They're selling kids' clothes.
Yeah.
They started online. They're thinking about brick and mortar, but they're doing really well online. And so test the water that way.
Yeah.
I think if you're someone that's a little bit risk averse, but you've got that corporate background, or you even don't have corporate background, online, I mean, people are shopping online like crazy.
Something kind of like, I want to kind of dig into that corporate, because there's something about a confidence area that you had in your thinking process is like, yes, I can leave corporate. I can leave this behind, and I can go start this business or buy a business and run with it. And that's going to make me happy. And I have the confidence to go ahead and pull that trigger. I mean, that seemingly might have been a little bit an easier decision for you, but my experience has shown that there's a lot of people that actually struggle with that. Yeah. And they'll spend years, I mean, in, 5 years, the older we get, 5 years goes by really quick, right? And I mean, and they could, still be miserable or not fulfilled, but it's because of that decision. I mean, what is your confidence in what you did? Like, can you retract back then and like what was the confidence measured as like, no, I'm going to do this? Because so many people battle with that decision.
Yeah. It wasn't hard for me. Like, I knew I wanted a business. I knew that I wanted out of corporate America, and I knew I wanted to have my own business. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was because my husband had a really good job and there was still income coming in. Like, I'm pretty sure that if we didn't have that, I probably would not have done what I did. So that was probably a big, and he supported me. Okay. I mean, he doesn't hardly do anything with this business. I mean, like right now he's fixing the closet door that came off the hinges in the hallway. Other than that, I mean, he helped me get started cleaning the machines just so I was doing it right. Right. He went with me twice. Yeah. It was not a hard decision for me. So I don't know that I have a good answer on people that struggle with that. Yeah.
I wonder, there's a, it's interesting, like there's a calculation I think that I've seen a lot of people making, is that financial, it's like, how are we doing? Am I able to take this risk without damaging the family? Right. And that's that. But what I've also seen is that there is something about, you get into business for yourself. If you're professionally trained, and this is the way I kind of think about folks like this, that you're super intelligent, you have a lot of training, there's a lot of things that you can do to buy an existing business or whatever it might be, and you can fix so much. Like, actually, you should have a lot of confidence, a very high level of confidence on the mechanics of getting into this and figuring things out, right? Yep. You should have that. I wonder if with that decision of, will I actually, so I guess my thing is you should have the confidence you can get a business and you can make that better, and it should be able to sustain you because hard work. Right. You do the right things. A lot of those ethical things, those general principles that you learn in corporate America can apply, and that should keep you in a sustainable position, right? Yeah. So I encourage folks that like to have that business and have it support you in your situation. That check mark is not too risky. The bigger check mark that in my experience has shown, and I think you've talked about with YumYos, is that growth mentality. Right. Like, how do you get to that second stage growth that where a business, if it's doing well, should grow and there should be an exit like you were talking about, right? There's a check at the end of a lot of businesses. Yeah. Or you're still in it, the margins are doing so well that you're making plenty of money. Maybe that's a different thing.
It's a research. Look at your competition. Mm-hmm. So maybe to help you make that decision is, who's your competition? Mm-hmm. And is there a lot? How are they doing? What are they doing differently? What can you do differently than they're doing to set yourself apart? Mm-hmm. Maybe that might help somebody that's on the fence from a corporate life background that wants to buy a business.
So what do you give us, we've got a few more minutes. What are some of the things that you've seen that corporate America experience that you had being really, really positive impacts for YumYos today? Like
preparation, I think about a lot of what corporate America, be prepared. Like, come to a meeting that you're not prepared.
So true.
So small business, be prepared, know what your cash flow is going to look like, know what your staffing looks like, where can you cut costs, like where can you control costs? That's another big thing is control the controllables. Dig into your expenses and make sure that you're spending things on the right things that are driving your business.
And especially in your roles in corporate, I mean, that's I mean, you were zeroed in on those types of things.
Business planning. I mean, we did business plans every year.
Yeah.
You know, what is your marketing plan? What is your financial plan? What is your, you know, when I had the box business, are you going to do line extensions? What flavors are you going to do? Budget for that research and development time, budget for that consumer research time. You know, if you're going to test a new flavor, do they really like it? Do your consumers like it? Don't they like it? You know, marketing plans, I think, you know, spin it like it's your own, really make sure what you're doing is driving that business. What else
from corporate America has really helped you out with YumYos?
I think the relationship part.
Okay.
You know, making sure that you've got relationships with all the people in all the different groups and just doing what you say you're going to do. Like build that trust, be the go-to person and have a mentor. We didn't talk about that at all.
No, we didn't.
I think it's great to have a mentor. I think it's even better to be a mentee. Because when I was a mentee, I really honestly learned more from the person I was mentoring, mostly because they were usually younger and they have different thoughts and different perspectives.
Yeah.
And so they would challenge, they would push back. Right?
Sure.
You know, when you got a mentor that's kind of giving you what they know, and you have a mentee that's, you kind of meet in the middle and you become a better person by doing both of those things.
What does that look like practically though? I mean, like, are these people that are at YumYos working that might be mentee or that might be your mentees? Or
yeah, you know, store manager.
Okay.
You know, maybe even the teenagers that are in high school and college. Talk to them about, you know, where this can take you. And again, we started off, you're not just checking people out. Like you're doing customer service. You're learning about the operations of a business, you know, the things that it takes to make it run. You've got a checklist in the morning. You have a checklist at night. I mean, those are the things it takes to make a business run. And so maybe hopefully when they get out of college, if they don't go work for somebody else, maybe they work for themselves. They've taken what they've learned at YumYos as a very, very small piece of that pie, and they can apply it and grow it.
Is there anything else from corporate world? So we got preparation,
relationships, marketing, business plans, and just doing what you say you're going to do and build that trust.
You know, I like that preparation thing because that's something that I did not learn. I mean, my entrepreneurial career, I mean, I didn't have any kind of really training necessarily. It was just, you know, very action, just, you know, click, which is great. You know, it has its benefits. But I think that as the more experience I've gotten, the more I've recognized the value of preparation. That I think a lot of folks in corporate America actually have that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're preparing for the meeting, and you're even pre-preparing. Like if there's something that's going to happen in a meeting that you think someone doesn't need to get caught off guard, I mean, you're greasing the skids. You're going and meeting with that person before the meeting, and okay, this is what we're going to talk about, so things don't go sideways or south. Or if you're not going to agree, you at least know before you go in that the conversation's probably going to be a little rocky, and you know how to manipulate that. So preparation is huge.
Okay, that's good.
What a great conversation.
Yeah, right? I mean, it always turns out, I mean, like there's just so much depth there. And of course, I guess that's why we started the podcast, because we can talk about this. We've been talking about it every week, you know, for over a year now. And I mean, there's just so much. I mean, everybody, you know, has great guidance. I mean, I love this story just because especially in our area, I believe a majority of your entrepreneurs are sitting out there, could be in corporate America right now, but they haven't made that switch over. You know, they're highly calculating people, right, that are super intelligent and smart and analyzing everything. And I do think that one thing I was trying to lead you to was, and you kind of said it, but at the end, like, can you really rationalize, you know, the decision, you know, to go into business for yourself? Because it's a field of unknown. And you're a perfect example of that. I mean, you bought a business, you could see how you could help it. You're going to take all your experience, improve the efficiencies of it, make better margins. You had a plan. And then 2 days later, freaking a macro event happens, like totally out of your control, you know. But the thing is, you survived it.
Yeah.
Things are going well. I mean, I think that's just the reality of this whole business thing is like, I mean, but you just work hard, you keep going at it, and take care of people.
Yeah.
And it always works out.
Yeah. I think about what if I would have let those 10 Tyson
Yeah.
kids go and we open back up and I'd have to be hiring them. Yeah. So taking care of people. I mean,
Well, it's that, but you also, I would argue that your experience had shown you what a lot of maybe new entrepreneurs that don't have experience, they just think about the cost of that payroll, like immediately, versus the cost to recruit, to hire and train. I mean, man,
it would have been a disaster.
it could have put you out.
Yeah.
It could have put you out because it's a 90-day process to get that going.
Well, and I think about how that's not the word, how scary it was for parents to have their kids be back out in,
Yeah.
would those parents have let their kids come work for me 6 weeks later, even though the world had opened back? I don't know. I mean, but these kids had a job. They had bills to pay. They paid their own cell phone bill or whatever. And yeah, that was a big decision. It paid off.
It did, but you knew that the alternative decision of having to rehire, you knew how expensive and time consuming that would have been. Yeah. So it helped you make the decision to keep them on. Yeah. That's a big deal. Yeah. Because that's a trap that a lot of people could find themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, you pull the trigger because it's a knee-jerk reaction. Oh my gosh, I can't afford to pay these people because, payroll is probably $10,000 a month, and so it's $10,000 that I had not planned for.
Yeah,
that I just had to write a check for.
But the thing is like I think a lot, like I could see myself in that scenario. I'm going to save $10,000. I'm just going to have to do it. But the hidden costs of the recruiting and all that stuff could be $50,000, $60,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because now I don't have people to open up when I could possibly open up. So I've delayed revenue and I've cost myself more money. Now I'm training and I'm trying to train and I don't know what to do. And I don't have time because I have this full-time job because I'm still working corporate America. I've still got to work from 7 to midnight every day.
Yeah.
And then go to YumYos and try to prop that up. But it's been really fun. And, I just would encourage people to reach out to people that are in business and ask all those questions and find your resources because they're out there to help.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Connie, thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, really fun conversation. We need to have it again. Okay. How do people get a hold of you if they want to, or do you want anybody to reach out to you in case they have any questions?
Yeah, I'd love YumYos.com.
YumYos.com.
I'm sorry, YumYos at outlook.com.
YumYos at outlook.com is your email. And your website for YumYos
is YumYos.com.
Just YumYos.com. That's a really cool name. It's a cool brand.
We make it yummy. You make it Yos.
Ooh, look at that.
Get you some.
Get you some. Good old marketing campaigns, man.
Yeah.
Connie, thank you so much. Folks, thanks for listening and joining us today. Make sure you sign up for our e-newsletter on our website so that we can see the new episodes, because you don't want to miss stuff like we just have with Connie. And, until the next time, this has been another episode of Big Talk About Small Business. Thank you so much, Connie. Appreciate you.
Eric, I appreciate it very much.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk About Small Business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.